So, friends, today we have Cosmos Voice number 2, and I want to present you our host, Greg, from DAODISEO, and our guest, Xanthar, from Crypto Dungeon. And today will be a lot of interesting insights, and I will be here as the community member who want to ask the questions. So, friends, really glad to see both of you. Let's begin.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Vlad, and welcome to our Cosmos Voice number 2. I am glad to meet today. Xanthar is your name, right?
That's it's my crypto name. It's been my name for like 40 years almost since I was a little kid. But Lee's my first name.
Oh, cool. And tell me, if I may, like, how old are you? And tell us a little bit about, yourself. I'm always wondering because, I am 55 and I am in this industry for some time, and glad to meet, people, and curious to see how they get into the industry is so interesting because people are coming from different places. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, I'm 45, living in Iowa, USA. I'm actually a psychiatrist full time. I have an MBA as well, and I got into crypto kind of in a weird way. I just started kind of like looking at Ethereum at the first time, and I bought a little bit of that, and it went way up, and I got excited. Then I found out about Cosmos and jumped into Cosmos, and kind of never got out of it. So yeah, we started Crypto Dungeon about 3 years ago, in May of 2022. Just started validating a bunch of small blockchains like Stargaze and Juno, and then we kind of just grew it from there. But the whole idea was to fund a gaming company, and validation unfortunately didn't make as much money as we were hoping, and we didn't really have a bull market. And honestly, like I've been funding this thing with my friend Sanju, who's my other partner, since the very beginning. And if we weren't doing that, it probably wouldn't have made it this far. But it's gotten to be the point where it's really fun, and we have games coming out. We have our own blockchain, so pretty exciting now.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly cool. And, I must say that before I came to this meeting, I checked your website. And, I was trying to understand a little bit of the kind of how you think and how you communicate, your concept. And what struck me a lot is this underlying desire to become a gaming company. And I think there is a kind of powerful message. You probably don't have yet a product, but tell me a little bit about at which stage of development are you now? And obviously, as any company probably like that, you have this component of the blockchain in one hand, and you have your own model for your company. And you want to kind of match together those technologies, right? So, where are you in this journey?
Well, I mean, we're actually pretty far now. So our first true blockchain game comes out Tuesday, which is CosmicQuest, and this is something that we built for the Cosmos ecosystem. It involves 9 different chains that we validate for. I could go through them all, but each one of them has its own sort of world that you travel to in the game, and battle monsters, and you get new cards, and try to build a deck by fighting monsters and leveling up. And this is our first game. We've been working on it since about August of last year full time, so it's taken us about 8 months to get here. But the cool thing about what we've done now is it's integrated with the blockchain finally, and we have our own NFT platform with Backbone Labs. So we actually did mint a collection. We pretty much gave it away for free, but we wanted to test out the chain, make sure everything was working well. But yeah, on Tuesday we launched this, which will be our first game. We have another one coming out at the end of May, which is totally different. it's different kind of like feeling entirely. It's more of an action game, and the one coming out in June as well is also very different. The title of that one is Cosmic Dragoon. You fly on a little dragon, flying through like this space thing, and you're shooting your enemies and trying to power up your stuff. But everything gets stored onto the NFTs, and it updates the metadata as you play. So it's got some crypto stuff built in, but we tried to do this sort of mix where the games are going to be really fun. The player doesn't really see a lot of the crypto stuff on their end. It's all done on the back end through us, but we have enough of the blockchain that the player themselves, they own their account, they own the NFT, and if they play for a long time and they play for hours and hours and they put money into it, at least they can sell it and recoup their investment. So it's a little bit different than traditional gaming, but I wouldn't say we went full Monty into Web3 because I feel like some of the Web3 games that have been built are really clunky and not a lot of fun when you're hitting the transaction button over and over again.
Yeah, I see. And maybe, I'm me personally, I don't have like too much experience in gaming. But indeed, gaming industry, I am aware that is a very important one and very powerful. Yeah. What is the type of customer that you are going after, or what would be your user, like typical user, and then what would be the value that the user is getting from your games, or what is behind, like what's maybe emotionally engage you, gamers that come to your place.
So initially, we are marketing to the Cosmos ecosystem. Anyone in there. On my Twitter, we're reaching out to every ecosystem at this point. We're really trying to broaden our reach. But the first couple games here, we've sort of developed for Cosmos, and we're hoping that there's going to be some support and people are going to actually play them. I think a lot of gamers don't like crypto yet, and that may change. But really hardcore gamers, especially people like into D&D and stuff that we're into, they're not really into Web3 and DeFi and all this stuff. So we're trying to make a bridge that makes it sort of fun to jump into crypto a little bit, but you don't have to go full bore into DeFi and lose all your money yet. So
I see what you mean. This is actually very interesting, and almost I kind of interrupt you, but it called my attention. Like, why gamer are not in crypto? You said it. You even describe it as two different worlds almost. Like, why they are not in?
Well, I think they don't really realize that there's benefits to Web3 technology. A lot of people are not educated on it, but most of what's in the Web3 space right now, there's a lot of scams. There's a lot of rugs. It's mostly DeFi, and people kind of hear about that stuff and they stay away from it. It's kind of one of the reasons I'm making fun of myself and I call myself Xanthar. I mean, like we're building legit stuff, but people don't believe that because no one has really done this in Web3 where they've actually built real games and launched them. There's very few people that are competing with us. So, on Tuesday, we get to show off for the first time what we've done. It's not a AAA game. It's not, Diablo 4 or, something that, is $1 billion blockbuster, but I think it'll be fun. We have sort of an old school feel, like it looks like a game from the 90s, but strategy elements of it, it'll be fun and entertaining for people. It'll have a lot of replayability. The one in May and June will be very different. So if people aren't into card games and strategy, then they can play something else. So we've got 3 launching in the next 3 months. We have a bigger one planned for December. We may have others in between. And one of the cool things that we figured out is we don't have to build all the games ourselves. We're working with a bunch of indie developers that are also building games with us. And we can plug in our APIs and just hook them up to our blockchain and launch an NFT series for them and help them promote it. So it's bigger than just us now. So that's why we really wanted our own blockchain. We could have partnered with someone else, but we tried to do that with Juno and a couple other people, and just wasn't a very friendly environment. So we really wanted our own chain for that reason, and I'm hoping that people see the reason for that and jump in.
Actually, very, very interesting, because I was just about to ask you, like, how you see the interaction of your games with the rest of the Cosmos ecosystem. And then I will give you a little bit of hint here. But even in our own project in DAODISEO, at some point, we were thinking to introduce kind of game elements, let's say, to our project. Yeah. And because we are related to Greece and Ithaca and kind of things, kind of mythological thing, if you want. So gaming is kind of like a cool thing that could add some value. So I was giving you this example just to ask you if you are thinking about like producing things for other chains, like some games, or like how you think about your interaction with the rest of the Cosmos ecosystem. And, if there is any, are you are you planning in the future to use like the IBC protocol for some reason, to exchange value? What is that strategy in the future?
So this is the reason for CosmicQuest. I mean, I don't think it'll be the greatest game ever made by anyone, but it's fun. And the cool thing about it, initially it'll launch actually on Stargaze, and we'll be porting it to Dungeon Chain in May once we launch our second game. But you can move your NFTs through IBC using 721, this IBC protocol to move the NFT. And if someone does that, and we have some kind of incentive, like, all right, you want to play on Juno or Sputnik, for instance, like you move your NFT there, and then we can detect that your NFT is on that chain in the game. And then you do these quests and you level up on that chain and you play on that chain for 2 weeks. And in doing so, the chain benefits from the community members traveling to their ecosystem and exploring their ecosystem. It creates transactions on whatever chain the NFT is on. So basically in the game, we update the metadata and it sends the transaction to whatever chain the NFT is located on. So we produce transactions for whatever chain decides that they want to interact with us. So right now it's Stargaze, it's Juno, it's White Whale, which they're kind of winding down their chain, but Cosmos, Passage, Omniflix, Tackle. There's a whole
Very
bunch
interesting.
of people that are interacting.
Very interesting. I understand. Now I am starting understanding the concept now, and it's more and more interesting. Actually, it starts sounding very cool. Actually, and what is required from the chain to be kind of with you in interacting with your NFTs? How you come to understanding with chains that it makes sense actually to do that, and how the process looks like.
How does the chain get involved, you mean?
Yes.
They just talk to us. I mean, we were validating for all the chains that we added, and we spoke to each one of them, and we said, hey, Juno, what do you want your race to be? And I think it was actually one of the ops members who suggested the lions. So we created a race of lions, and they're, if you look at our NFTs on Stargaze, the CosmicQuest NFTs, each one is its own character. So Stargaze is the Astral Elves, Juno is the lions, Omniflix is the Phoenix, Cosmos is this like atomic man, which is like, sort of robotic. Dungeon Chain has the dragon race. So we all have our own characters. You would just talk to us and say, hey, we'd like to co-promote. Like we didn't even ask for payment. We didn't ask for anything in return financially. We just get your community engaged, and then we'll put an outpost on your chain, and we can send the NFTs there, and then your community members can battle on your own chain.
That's very cool. Actually, that sounds really, really cool. And I mean, the next question, natural question for me would be like the characters of the game. Like imagine, the chain is actually saying, it might make sense, but I need to adapt the characters of the game a little bit to my own case. Right, because in part is this engagement that I want to bring, but I want this engagement to be in line with my own like a story line. Yeah. So how you design those characters and what freedom people have designing those characters. I guess we need to fit to some kind of structure or some standard or collections, but at the same time, like what level of freedom we have there.
So when you don't have to buy an NFT to play. Well, you kind of do. You don't have to buy a CosmicQuest NFT to play. We're going to have these core NFTs that we made, and they look like little cartridges that you would put in your Game Boy. And I could show you the CosmicQuest core NFT, but each game is going to have their own, and those are going to be like $5 or $10. They won't be expensive. But the CosmicQuest NFT basically gives you a character that you unlock in the game. So if you purchase one of the characters, then you start out with like a certain set of extra cards, which gives you a little bit of an advantage in the game when you first play. It doesn't break the game or give you like pay to win or anything like that. But each character, and I can show you actually if you want me to log in and stream my screen here, I can show you the game. But
yes, please do so. Like, feel free to kind of show us a little bit how this works.
So this is our website. I'm going to select my core NFT here, and basically I hit play, and then it opens up Kepler Wallet, and I sign a request, and then that sends it back to our server. We authenticate the fact that you have the core NFT on your wallet, and then we hit play. There's this little authentication code, and then you can just enter the quest. So it basically is verifying your wallet. I can kind of maximize this a little bit. And this is the beta. So it's like not every feature is kind of hooked up yet, but you can kind of see my little character here. This is the beta bot. And this is a little penguin race that we've sort of created. There's a lot of Easter eggs in here for future games as well, but I can change actually my connected NFT, which it'll search my wallet now. And I'll show you in a second here. So these are my NFTs that I have in this wallet. And each one of them has a class, an element. So you can see Magician, Uzoth is the race of osmosis, Toxin. They all have unique artwork. And so if you're selecting one versus another, it'll actually change your character in the game. So if I want to pick the panda, you can see my character here actually changes into a little panda. And then kind of go into the world. You can buy items here. You can change your cards out, change your deck. So you get some starting cards here that you can play with, and then kind of go into, this is the portal for passage. So each world's got its own unique characters and monsters that you fight. You can kind of pick up new weapons and new spells. And now I'm going to fight this little monster here. So anyway, yeah. You have to level up and you have to fight bosses and kind of collect new cards, but kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. So
Yeah. No, very nice. I think it's very cool. And tell me, like, like the second game, third game, because you were talking about some other games that you are going to launch in between, like, are they very different? And then the next question that comes to my mind is like, how much it costs to create one of those games. Yeah. So like, imagine that someone will ask you, create me a game, in blockchain. So it makes sense. And on top of that, those characters could actually fly to different chain. So it might be some benefit out of it if we design it right. So, how this design process works and then how much it costs.
it's it's not that hard to make a game. I mean, we have a very small team. And we started in August. Actually, we were planning the game before that, but we didn't actually start game development until then. And we really tried by Cosmoverse, which was in October, to be able to show something. So we only had 2 months to come out with like some kind of like teaser of what the gameplay was going to look like. And I was a little bit too ambitious maybe, and we weren't able to show a ton, but we were able to show like a little clip during Cosmoverse, which is cool. But games are easy now. You can use multiple different kinds of engines. We work with different indie game developers, like I said. So some people, they already have built a game and they just don't really have an audience. And one of the things we can do is we can make their game basically a blockchain game. We just launch an NFT series and we can connect the characters to the game with our APIs, and then we use our authentication system. They can log in with their NFT, they get a core NFT, and then we can actually have them launch their own NFT collection on chain. We help them promote it, market it, and then, if they don't really have a community, like let's say they don't have people that are going to play, we can help them get that. So that's why I'm working my butt off pretty hard here to promote on X now, because we actually have products that are launching. We have this game's in 2 days. So, I mean, is it the most amazing thing ever? No, but it's going to be fun. It's built specifically for the Cosmos ecosystem. No one's ever done anything like this before that I know of. So I'm really hoping that people see it and they're like, okay, these guys actually did something real. All right, let's give them some support, because if we had any funding besides me and my friend, we would be able to build a lot more serious games, and we would be able to hire, other developers to make these things even better and faster, and we could really launch a pretty big product. So with IBC, now Cosmos has this Eureka product that they've launched. We can specifically route every single transaction through the hub. So the NFTs go to the hub, and then they go to every other chain. So everything would be paid for in Atom. So that would benefit the hub substantially. I don't think they realize how much that could be and how many transactions that could be, because if we have multiple games launching and we do get a community playing, it's quite a bit. So, I'm hoping they see this and they're just like, okay, let's try to support these guys and at least promote them, because they really don't mention us much. And I think they've been burned in the past. A lot of people say, oh, we're going to make a game, and they just never do it. Well, this is launching in 2 days. So if they want to think I'm Xanthar, another 2 days, that's fine. But then after that, they're not going to do that anymore. And we have another one coming out in June or May, and another one coming out in June as well. And they're all very different. And I actually think the next two are going to be really fun. It's like a completely different flavor. So one's kind of like a side scroller action game. I don't know if you've ever played like Contra or Metroid or anything like that. And the third one's more like, I don't know if you've ever played like Galaga or any of these. You fly through space in the ship and you're shooting stuff, and you can upgrade your weapons and your defense systems and all that. And there's different bosses at the end, and it's got different levels of playability. So you can keep increasing the difficulty as you get more powerful, and you can get to new levels. I don't want to tease too much because it'll upset my gaming team here, but we're probably going to show the beta for Cosmic Dragoon right after CosmicQuest launch. So we'll be able to test that for about 2 months before we launch it at the end of June. The other game in May is already built. We just have to add our APIs to it. So we're going to finish the launch for CosmicQuest, and then it'll take us about a month to connect all that and launch it. So each game will have each game has its own NFT series, and then people can. They don't have to go in and they don't have to buy the CosmicQuest NFT if they don't want to spend $40 or 10 atoms or whatever it costs now. If they just want to play it and they don't want to have all the features, they can pay $5 or $10 for the core NFT and play. It's not going to be expensive. The benefit of the CosmicQuest NFT and some of the other ones will be play to earn. So we have our Dragon token, which is the staking and governance token of Dungeon Chain, and we can give out monthly airdrops to people that play the game that hold the NFT. So that's kind of the reason to have it, and then it unlocks a couple extra features. So if you I showed you in the game, you wanted to play with the panda from Passage, that's your character that you can unlock, and then you get a set of starting cards that specifically flavor to that deck. That gives you certain, you want to build your card around that style. So there's 8 different subclasses, 8 different classes. There's 9 different races. So there's a lot of different playability. You can replay the game over and over again.
I have so many questions, still on my pocket for you. So we could continue this conversation for some time, of course. Now, I wanted to, just in case, give an opportunity for anyone, if anyone has a question before we move forward.
Oh, friends, as usually, I have so many questions, and this is so great possibility to speak with the creator of the game. Yes, and
I didn't create it. I did not. Popcorn created the game.
Organizer of the creators of the game, even more. Yeah, so you don't need to be the directly creator. You can help to creators to build it. Yeah, and one of the questions about the game. At first, this is what's about players versus players mode. Will it be able? And the second, will it be able on the mobile phones like Android, iOS version?
In the beginning, it'll be player versus enemy, which is PvE. You know, like one player, right? Originally, we wanted to do it on mobile. It requires a little bit of extra resources that we don't have. And the hope is that there is adoption. If people play this in the Cosmos ecosystem and they care enough to play it, we can upgrade the game. So we already have, if you look at our roadmap that we published, I think it's in August, we'll publish a massive update to CosmicQuest as long as there's demand for it. If no one's playing, and you know the other two games come out and no one's playing, I think we're in trouble with Cosmos. I mean, we're going to have to expand to other ecosystems just to get more players because maybe there's not enough people in the Cosmos to play these. But I'm hoping that people do support us, and then we have the funding to add all kinds of different features. We would love to add PvP where, you know, you need to have enough players playing at the same time to do that, because if there's only 5 or 10 people playing at once, it'd be very hard to do PvP combat. It just, you'd be waiting in like a queue forever. So we can certainly add those features. We can add more chains. Like if Sputnik is launching, you know, we can add the Sputnik race to the game, and we can have their own sort of realm that you travel to, and that adds more replayability and more, you know, depth to the game itself. So yeah, these are all things we want to do. We can add pets, we can add different items, we can add different equipment. We can keep expanding the game as long as there's people that are wanting to play it. So that's the test here. So we launched on Tuesday. I promote as hard as I possibly can. I've been on Twitter every day sending GMs to 1,000 people, which is freaking horrible because I'm seeing 30 patients a day on top of that. My family is pissed off at me for not spending time with them, but like I'm really working hard on this to get it out there. And if there is any adoption and people want to play, then we expand it. So it's really just, if there's the interest, we're going to do it.
Vlad, anything else? You know, from my end, I was just thinking if is it possible? Yeah, a little bit. I asked that before, but I was wondering, like, how, you know, how possible is to find like appropriate game for some chain. And imagine even DAODISEO chain. You know, we are from DAODISEO. We knew that we needed like a game like that. We were thinking even to do that. In our case, it was related to real estate development, and we were thinking about like a kind of how to teach people how to develop real estate. And it's supposed to be funny, and we have like a methodology, and we wanted like a character to kind of go through certain questions and then learn, you know, about how engineering works and how these development process works. So, but to make it short, like to find a way to put that game, let's say, would it be very, very difficult, and how much it would cost?
I don't think it would cost much at all. I don't think it would be difficult. It depends, you know, what level of game you want to build, but like there's certainly engines where you can build things pretty quickly with a very small number of people. But it does take some commitment. I mean, I'm paying several of our team members full time to build it, but like we can hire an indie game developer to build a game for us, and as long as we can find players to play it, that could be very profitable. So it's not difficult to do it. It doesn't cost a lot, but it depends on what kind of level of quality you want and how fun it's going to be and all that. It does take some energy, but definitely doable. I mean, you should talk to us afterwards if you want.
No, that's perfect. Thank you for that. And definitely, you know, I will ping you probably, in DM and see what we could do. Somehow I understood that this product could be a kind of way of other chains to promote themselves, if you want, as well, and to make this participation between different chains within the cosmos more energetic and more fun. But of course, in order this to happen, you need to have that argument that you could do something specific for that chain, and then kind of explain like a business case for them to make it happen. Yeah.
We're not even asking for anything. Like, it's amazing actually how hard it is to get people to even talk about you. Like, I mean, OmniFlex has been working with us. They've been really cool. We've had a couple chains mention us, but we didn't ask for money or anything like that. We didn't ask for grants. We just want to be mentioned so that your community like looks at our game and wants to play it. And if you want to wait till the game comes out on Tuesday, fine. Like, because I'm Xanthar, I'm Dungeon Intern, and like it, whatever. But like once the game is out, if you're not interested, that's okay. But like, we literally built this for Cosmos and all these different chains, so people will use it if they want to. But whoever decides they want to work with us, we can have events on their chain. So, if Stargaze doesn't want to talk to us or promote our NFT project, okay, that's okay. Like, you're still in the game, but like, we're not going to have events on that chain. We originally were not going to have our own NFT platform. We were going to have it all on Stargaze, but they told us that they were going to promote us and went back on their word. So we needed our own NFT platform. There's literally no point in having it there. There's visibility, but only if you're being mentioned. So now we have our own platform. And, we can build our community big as we need to. I just have to keep grinding and keep working hard at that.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think I understand a little bit your feeling to a certain extent. We are also new as a project, so I kind of empathize with your feelings. I think I don't know if I can say any advice on anything, but be patient. One. And then also, like, just make sure that other chains have that point of interest, whatever that is. Yeah, whatever that kind of hook, if you want, is. But make sure that the product is something that other chains need for some reason. And one of the things that come to my mind is this promotion power. Yeah, that something like that could have. And you mentioned, I think, Eureka. Yeah, and you mentioned that these could be potentially very powerful for products like yours. Because if you actually trigger that to the hub, and the hub distribute that to all other chains, so obviously that would be very, very powerful, right? And of course, if some product is successful in this space, that would be big. Yeah, that would be very big.
Right, and it's not even just the transactions. It's we're marketing way beyond Cosmos now, because I've already realized that there probably isn't enough people in the Cosmos that are going to make gaming profitable, that are interested in gaming. So I've been reaching out to Ethereum and Solana communities and Avalanche and all these different chains. So not only are we going to produce transactions and drive, activity, but we're going to be bringing in people that have never used crypto. We're going to be bringing people from other chains, Solana, Avalanche. They don't really even know about Cosmos. That's the thing, is like, if I can grow our community bigger, everyone wins that takes part in this. And they don't have to do anything. All they have to do is just sit there and allow the NFT to go to their chain, which can happen. I mean, you don't even have to allow it. It's permissionless, really. In terms of sending a transaction, the NFT just goes on their chain and it creates transactions for them. It doesn't hurt them at all. And then they get community moving from blockchain to blockchain. So I mean, it really, like, all you gotta do is be like, hey guys, we're gonna have an event on our chain, like play on Osmosis this week, and you can get a special item. You can get special cards that only people that play during this 1 week can get. And in doing so, we get transaction fees. We get more community members coming in. We get people from other ecosystems that have never heard of us. Maybe they might even use our decks. So that's the whole thing. It's a marketing tool. That's fun.
Yeah, and then I really see these, and I see the value indeed. And I was about to ask you, maybe I don't want to be like too direct in this sense, but if you can say anything about that, like what is the final business model? Like if you think like if these escalate and make you make it big, and so how you see your revenue stream structured, and what would be the business model?
So we have 4 to 6 games launching this year. That's conservative, and like that's coming from our gaming team that doesn't want to overpromise. Like we have 3 that are already built. We're going to have the 4th one built by the end of the year, and then we have others that are producing for us as well. So we want to build a sort of Steam on Dungeon Chain, our own Steam platform, and anyone can launch a game, and we help hook that up. And we bring them community, we bring them the means to make money themselves, so which generates more transactions for our chain, more community. We sell NFTs. Those NFTs get traded. We get commissions on that. We keep adding more and more products, but like eventually, yeah, the Steam is the way to go, because we then become this just portal for Web3 gaming, and all that could be going through the hub, and they could be generating massive amount of transactions. So we just have to make it to the next step. And we've hit so many hurdles and not quit. And there's been plenty that, people are like, I can't believe you guys keep going after this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like you should have failed 10 times by now. But like, all we have to do is get people to play and get enough interest that we can keep developing. And then if we keep developing, it'll get bigger and bigger, and then it's going to blow up. So I've been careful with our tokenomics. I'm not trying to do anything crazy with it. We had some airdrops and we had some things, but like in terms of some of the things that chains have done to make money, like I'm very conservative in that. I just want to be able to show, all right, we have a viable product. This product makes money, and that provides money, and it goes back to the Dragon token and to the stakers. That's it. And then I think it'll be able to grow from there.
Actually, one of your last words triggered my next kind of question. What are the current? What is the current tokenomics actually? And what is your just fundamentals? Yeah, without getting into like too deeply into that, but just kind of fundamentals. And of course, when you trigger the chain, when you made your genesis, you decided certain parameters. You decided inflation. You decided, minimum tokens that needs to be delegated to the system to actually inflation run properly, APY, etc., etc. So what is your kind of current structure now?
We have we had a starting supply, and to me the number was irrelevant. People tell me the number matters, but whatever number you start with, that's what you have, and then you have an inflation rate. Our inflation rate is 10%. We don't have a max cap. We have about 1 billion tokens, and I think 3 billion or so have been minted, or sorry, 3 million or 30 million or something. I can't remember the exact number, but
no percentage. If you can say, what was the percentage of the tokens of what you understand as you kind of? I know that in Cosmos we don't have max supply, so in reality it's not max supply. But typically the project, they kind of put some kind of cap, and they are saying that it would be so much tokens. So what is the percentage of tokens that you minted already, and how fast you are minting the other one?
They're just over 1 billion, and the inflation rate is 10%, but that rate would drop each year because 10% is based on the first years of inflation. So after the first year, even the 10% would be less than that, because you're minting the same amount of tokens each year. But we didn't have a max cap, because if you do that, one, we're proof of stake blockchain. You have to pay your validators. You have to have inflation to be able to, produce tokens to have rewards and stuff like that. But 10% is fairly conservative for proof of stake. We have a very high APR though, because only a certain percentage of our tokens can be staked. So the founders have not staked their tokens. They're vested and they're unlocking. We have foundation funds that we could OTC later for, once the chain becomes valuable and the token becomes valuable, instead of selling into a pool and dropping the price like a lot of chains do, we can OTC tokens slowly and raise money that way so that we can hire more developers and bring in more games and continue to enhance the chain and add more features. So we have quite a bit of funds allocated for that. So most of the tokens are not able to be staked, and they never will be. So the people that did stake, maybe 15% of all the tokens are staked. They're getting all of that 10% inflation. So our APR is 60 to 70%. But yeah, we can always lower the inflation rate via governance. So once the chain activity increases and we have lots of games and we have extra transaction fees and things being generated, the goal would be to reduce that so that inflation will be lower. But one of the keys here is the games have to succeed. We have to be able to sell NFTs. We have to be able to have people paying for the core NFTs. We have to just continue to do this, because some of that money we could be pouring back into the Dragon token. So
of course,
we can use whatever funds we have to buy back Dragon token and create positive buy pressure. So we do have a white paper. It's in our GitHub, and it's in our Discord as well. But I do need to probably change it, because we started out being a partial set security chain through Cosmos, and unfortunately that did not work out. That's another very long story. We've been aligned with Cosmos for the last 3 years and had our community vote, and they wanted to launch as the first permissionless partial set security chain. We did that, but unfortunately our chain did not work when we were partial set security. So we had to do something incredibly difficult, and we're not crypto people. So luckily we had some people supporting us that are validating, and they helped us come up with a solution, and we did a hard fork out of partial set security to our own sovereign chain, which has never been done ever. And thank God that it worked, and we were able to launch dApps and finally get our chain working. But that slowed us down months. And we did that to align with the Cosmos Hub, and then they sort of were like, yeah, not only is your chain not working, but we're not doing ICS as much anymore. That's not the focus. We're going to try to build dApps on the hub instead, and we're going to be building up, like trying to be Solana and competing like that. So it just was like unfortunate that we launched that way, but we were luckily able to fix it, and now the chain is fully functional, and we're cranking.
Yeah. So more questions, if you don't mind. More
Sure.
you speak, more questions I have, and I hope I'm really trying to be very gentle on that questions, but it's really I'm interested to see how other people are solving.
You can hit me as hard as you want. I'm ready. Don't worry about it.
So at some point you mentioned that. Delegating significant amount of tokens to the validators would be a challenge for some reason, and typically when you set up the chain, you have these 67%, which is a kind of standard of Cosmos, but then any chain is selecting that parameter, so that how many tokens the chain should stake to the system.
We're not using that. Yeah, that's
you are
not
not using that at all. Okay, I see. So how you solve that, or did you disconnect that? Because that's the standard behavior of the chain. Yeah.
No, well, not exactly. That's how Cosmos works. So Cosmos is tokenomics. If more than 67% are staking, the APR will drop. If less than 67%, the APR goes up. And that's how they incentivize people to stake. Our model is totally different. Our inflation rate is set. And when you stake more tokens, it divides the number of the tokens generated amongst those stakers. So it is a set
Okay,
rate. It's not based on any kind of like algorithm, because
I
it
see.
doesn't really matter. The foundation tokens are not being sold. The founders token, we're not selling our tokens. I don't need to, right? The plan is once the chain is valuable, I can OTC later down the road, small bits at a time, and I can live off of that. If we sell now or whatever, the whole thing's dead and the project dies. So like you need to have a trust where the founders are not doing that kind of stuff. So we've all kind of agreed that that's not what we're going to do. And if we ever do sell anything, it'll not be into a pool. It'll be an OTC direct, for this amount of money. And then those tokens will be vested for a certain period of time and the person can't dump them.
I see.
But yeah.
Okay, I see. So now the next question is kind of completely different, and it's more about the technology as well. Like, what is your like a tech stack now? So I am assuming you are kind of Cosmos SDK, and then maybe you have a CosmWasm. So how you are using these different part of the technology, for your project?
So we're permissioned, meaning anyone can deploy with governance as long as the community votes. And we've already done this with Backbone Labs. They were able to deploy their DApp on our chain. We were able to launch our first NFT project. So at the end of next month, we're going to port all of the NFTs from Stargaze back to Dungeon, and then we'll have the new mints happening on Dungeon as well. So we can launch CosmWasm dApps. But it is permission. Not anyone can build for any reason. And we did that not because it's more profitable, but we want to keep the chain clean so that we can continue to optimize speed and efficiency. We don't want our games to be clunky and slow. Like player experience has to come first. So yeah, we are CosmWasm, just basic cookie cutter chain that's designed to be very fast with low transaction fees. And we do allow CosmWasm, but you have to come talk to us, or you have to talk to the community and put up a prop, and then you can build on the chain if once the prop passes.
Yeah, I see. Thank you for that. And I was also about, the governance. Like, you said that some of the decisions are taken via governance, and giving you tokenomics and giving you mechanics of your chain, which are not necessarily kind of Cosmos standard. How this works and how the governance power is actually split by different players, in the ecosystem.
Well, just like every other chain, each staker has a vote. The validators vote, and you can override their vote with your vote if you choose not to go with what your validator votes for. We have, I think, a max of 20 validators at the moment. I think we have 16 currently. And I want to keep that number small, one, to optimize speed. And also, when you have too many validators, it's not profitable to be a validator. We want our validators to care about the chain and actually like, okay, I'm getting an income source from this. I'm going to promote you. I'm going to help, deploy different infrastructure and have relayers and different things that we're going to do for you. We want those people to be, into what we're doing and care. So like, you have a chain that has 150 validators. They're not all promoting. They're not all doing things for you. And that's kind of how we just keep it small. Plus, decentralization is important, but with gaming, I wouldn't think it's as important as it is with DeFi, let's say, because there's not as much money being traded back and forth. Now, we may decide to launch a DEX in the future because we may have other games with other tokens, and they may want to pair to the Dragon token for liquidity and things like that. In that point, we may need to decentralize the chain further if we decide to do that. But at this point, we want to maximize speed and efficiency and just make sure that it's profitable for everyone.
Yeah, very understandable. And, anything you want to say about your work as validator as well? Because I guess, Of course, today conversation is about the gaming and so on, but you validator, you nature is a validator, and you came about, I think, as a validator. So tell us a little bit about that part, and also like how you decide which chains you are going to validate actually, and maybe one day you validate DAODISEO again.
So I think we do validate multiple chains. We've been doing that for a couple of years. I wouldn't say technically we're the best validators in Cosmos by any means. We're kind of noobs. I think we do a decent job. We're really good at marketing, I think, and promoting individual chains. But really, it's going to be a product of, okay, is this going to be profitable for us for one? But is this chain that we're going to be validating for interested in taking part in some of our games? Because I would love to get bigger chains like Injective and some of these things involved. And if they're interested in launching, a little sort of outpost, then we could have Injective being part of the CosmicQuest or something like that. Then we would add them. But yeah, we're not making a whole lot of money from validation. When I started this, Atom was like $45, and I was like, all right, we get to 1 million atoms staked. That's a lot of money coming in for us. We can develop games. Like I can hire people. We're sitting at under $5. Yeah, I mean, Posthuman and a lot of other people have been really nice to us, and we've gotten a nice little stake here. I think we're ranked like 75th or something like that in the active set for Cosmos. And it was actually absolutely brutal trying to get in. You had to get a lot of money in there, and I had to put up a lot of my own funds, and my other partner too. And I don't know, like it's still an income stream for us, but it's really not going to be probably as much as the NFTs and things like that we're selling for the games. So I've had to fund things longer than I was hoping, and we're not completely self-sufficient yet, but soon. We're almost there. So yeah, I mean, if someone wants us to validate and it's definitely worth our while, then we absolutely would add them.
Okay, so like maybe another small breaking point, and then we ask people if anyone has questions.
I have not only questions, but I want to add something about the dungeon chain as the vision of the gaming chain, because we was waiting for the gaming chain, and crypto dungeon game will be not the only one game on the dungeon chain, and there will be a lot of many other games. And even more, we want to launch a Metarchy game on the dungeon chain as the game, and use dungeon chain as the game chain, because we are pretty glad to see such fast functionality and dungeon, and it will bring more utility for the DGN token, because we also will use it in the Metarchy and so on. Here is also the question you already was mentioned, that also some other games will be on dungeon chain, and maybe you also can tell a little bit more about the vision of the dungeon chain, not only as the game chain only for the crypto dungeon, but for many other games. And if the games want to be launched on the blockchain, they can choose dungeon chain as their backend.
Yeah, CosmicQuest we built completely on our own. We wanted to show that we could do it, that we could connect to the blockchain, that we could build these APIs, that we could integrate Kepler and all these things, and we could do all this stuff. But actually, the other two we've had help with. That's why we're able to produce them so quickly. But I've lined up several launches just because I think that's going to be enormously fun for people. That like this is going to launch, and then a month later, we already have the second game launching. We have another beta running. You can play that, and then that third game is going to be launching. And we have a bigger one that we're planning for December, which is more of an adventure style sort of dungeon delving thing, more in the flavor of what Crypto Dungeon's all about. But like our team is still deciding, do we go for a big massive game, or do we go for a bunch of smaller games that, like which is the right way to go here? But yeah, we don't have to build everything ourselves anymore. We have friends that we know, from non-crypto world, from crypto world, that are wanting to build, and they just don't have. They can build really fun games. They don't have a lot of players. They don't have a lot of community, and they're not going to make a lot of money. So we can partner with them and kind of get their game out there and kind of blow it up. So it should be very, very fast after Tuesday. Like I'm practicing by sending my 1,000 good mornings a day to like people on Twitter, because I'm going to be working pretty hard here, and the whole team's going to be grinding. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I can't even announce yet that we're going to be doing, because I'm not sure, I can even legally announce things until they're actually occurring. In some areas, I can't give any more hints than that, but we've got a bunch of stuff that's going to be coming real soon here.
Yeah, and any other call to action or something that you would like people to know? At the end, these will be recorded, and I'm sure, send out to people. So anything that you would like really to kind of be here and communicating to people now?
I would like to keep going. I certainly don't want to stop. I think we're doing very well, and one of the things we need is revenue. So if people want to support us, our validators obviously are a source of revenue. If you stake with Crypto Dungeon, we get money for that, and we continue to pay people, and we continue to fund. The NFTs are even bigger. I think we're like 52% minted on CosmicQuest on Stargaze. If people don't think we're legit, you can wait till Tuesday. But if you do mint a new CosmicQuest NFT, you will be airdropped on the day of launch one of the core NFTs for free. Otherwise, we will be minting those out individually. You don't have to have a CosmicQuest one if you want to spend less. But those help us tremendously, because each one of them is $40, and if we sell a bunch of them, then I think there's 3,401. They're all unique characters, and they all give play to earn and dragon. But it funds us going forward here, and I think in the short term that is going to be really important, because if we don't have those funds coming in, very, very difficult for me to continue building at the pace we're building and continue to pay everyone. So I don't want to slow down just because we're in a bear, and that's extremely helpful for us if people do want to support in that way. The dragon tokens, you can buy that on Osmosis, either with Osmo or Atom. Well, on Osmosis you can buy it with any token, actually, USDC, Bitcoin, whatever. But our price is. It was crazy. After the stream swap, we went from like 500,000 market cap to like 20 million, and then we crashed to like 2-point-something million now. I do think after the games are out, that's going to fly, but not financial advice. So if people want to get in, well, they still can. But yeah, unfortunately, like, people made a lot of money in that stream swap, and they dumped because there was a 40x benefit there. So I don't entirely blame them, but it certainly helps us, any new community members that are coming in and staking Dragon token. So.
Okay, so any other question? Vlad, anything to add?
Oh, friends, as my opinion, I can speak about gaming literally endless, because I'm a game addicted person. I love to play games very so much. That's why I think that this is what we need in the cosmos. We need more games to attract more people, and I really like this vision of the dungeon chain, that we can attract more gamers through the games to the crypto. And even not attracting even people to the blockchain, just create more games that we can play games and earn some funds for this, for the playing games. This is kind of my small dream. I just play the games, do nothing more, and I will have enough funds to live. This is sounds for me very interesting, and I just want. But for me, it's hard to ask many questions, because I already very familiar with the dungeon chain, and like what I still didn't know about it. But I want to add that we will make the drop of the Sputnik NFTs for the holders of Cosmic NFTs, CosmicQuest NFTs, and Dungeon OG NFTs, and also stakers of DGN will get a drop of Signal, and we will create the pool DGN and Signal and it also will be the drop of the signal for the holders of NFTs. So we are thinking that Dungeon Chain, it's a great collaborator for the Sputnik network, and we will support Dungeon Chain on all levels, and because also they will support us also on all levels. So this is the great collaboration, and I think it's just the beginning of our journey.
That's the thing. Like, you guys have been helping us for a long time, and I remember these things. I appreciate it. So when people are loyal to us, we like to repay that. So I know you guys will have a DEX at some point. And we can pair our token to yours and provide liquidity that way. Maybe we have a head start over you, but I think that'll help. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate everything you guys have done.
And we also, this is so cool and nice that all you build is very interesting and cool. I'm really glad that you build it.
Oh, like I wanted to make games since I was 18. It's like my dad asked me, like, what are you going to study when you go to school? And I actually started out computer science, engineering, which I hated. I didn't think it was going to be like, Calc 3 and linear algebra and differential equations and assembly language programming, and it was so boring. But I'm getting to make games now. I'm 45, and I'm a psychiatrist. It's kind of cool to circle back and be able to do the stuff that I wanted to do when I was a kid. So it's a really cool feeling.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, maybe somebody else also want to ask some questions.
I got only one question. How can I get access to CosmicQuest? I want to try to play a little bit,
Beta, you talking about the beta or the actual game?
I guess beta should be fine in order to get familiar with CosmicQuest at least.
So the beta, we're going to launch in 2 days, like the full release. So in order to play the beta, you needed to have a Cosmoverse promo NFT. There were only like 80 of them or something like that were minted, and we airdropped everyone who had one of those somewhat recently here a core NFT, because that's going to be your key to logging into the game. So you'd have to have one of the promo NFTs first, and then we might be able to airdrop. But I know Vlad has a promo, and he probably got a core NFT for free as well. So I don't know if he's willing to share that with someone that wants to play. But yeah, I mean, there'll be, I think it's going to be $10 on the day of release, which is Tuesday. We're doing a really big space with Ellis during the day. It's going to be noon my time, so I think that's 1800 CST or something like that, or 1900. I can't remember. But you're not going to have to wait that long here. If there's a way I could get you a core one, I could see if I could do that. But we're not minting them yet, so it was only the ones that Josh Martin produced. But yeah, I mean, Vlad, if he's got one in his wallet and he's willing to share that. I know Vlad got to play when it was pretty early on. So the website, if you want to look, there's not that many people in here, I don't think. So it's Crypto Dungeon, or sorry, dungeongames.io, and then cosmic-quest/play. I can probably share the link here. I put the link to our website that you can log in from there. And then, there's still some things they're polishing up right before the launch, but I mean, it won't be 100% finished product, every single thing we want in there, but it'll be fun and playable. And then the hope is that people are playing, and then we just add features to it as we go. So every time, like every week, we were doing beta updates where we're going to release a new patch, and then like we unlocked all the different zones. So there's 9 different zones right now with 9 different chains. And I believe Popcorn said that the dungeon chain would be the tutorial, and also one of the final places that you'll be battling, I think, as well. So each one has their own boss, and you can start off on any chain you want, but there is a strategy. There's different cards in different worlds that you want to gather probably before you try to fight a boss that's out of your league. Because once you get killed, you start from the beginning again. It's what do you call a roguelike game? So you basically, if you get killed, you got to go back from the beginning. You keep your achievements, and that's stored on your NFT, but you don't want to get killed. That's the goal.
Maybe the last question. In 2 days will be the launch of the CosmicQuest. What users need to do for what they need to be prepared? Maybe you show, like in the 2 days, go to this web page, click here, start there, download here, that people can be prepared for the launch.
So all you need, if you already minted a CosmicQuest NFT, then you will get airdropped a core NFT on the day of launch, and you can just log in through our website with that core NFT through your Kepler wallet. If you don't have one, only minters are going to get a free core NFT, because obviously we need to mint new ones here. We did a snapshot. Anyone before who had a CosmicQuest NFT before the snapshot that we announced will get a free one, but from that point on, it's only going to be new minters. So if you go to Stargaze and get a first edition NFT, I can probably post the link on there too. But if you have that, you're going to get airdropped the core one. Otherwise, on Tuesday, we'll probably have a mint on Stargaze for the core NFT, and it'll be unlimited mint. And I think they're $10 each. I'm not sure if we're going to do an Atom or USDC or what, but that's it. And then if you have it in your wallet, you can log in through Kepler, and it authenticates you through our site. That's all you need. So just have the NFT and Stargaze. That's it.
Okay, sounds very cool. Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much for coming for the benefit of Cosmos ecosystem. And we were able to hear a little bit about gaming on our preferred ecosystem as well. So I hope to speak with you. I said that I will also ping you later to discuss DAODISEO as well. So thank you, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed, and we will see each other to the next one in the next Sunday.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
My friends, thank you very much.